Well, as you see from those pictures now, we've just got a little bit of a pause before we go racing our final race, and it is the final of the KF class. For those of you that are just joining us online, thank you. Thank you for joining us. For those of you that have been with us for all of the afternoon and better still all of the day, thank you for being with us throughout the day. We do appreciate, we know that you're there because we get the messages from you. We know that you're watching, and we do take on board what you're telling us. So thanks very much. Hope you enjoyed the podium of the KF Juniors. Right now we're looking at the dummy grid for the senior final, and there in cart number 133, he's not there, but the cart is. Ben Hanley will be sitting in that Mad Croc cart powered by the TM motor and on the Vega tyres, all carts on this class on the Vega tyres. He'll be lining up. Incidentally, Ben Hanley, immensely experienced, over 30 years of age, but only just beyond his mid-teens, if you will. Richard Viscour, not nearly so experienced, but wow, what a talent. The young Dutchman on that X-Prise chassis, powered by the Vortex unit. And I usually give a mention to his mechanic, Mats van der Brand, because Mats is a guy who I remember being of the age that Richard Viscour is. And there you see Pedro Hiltbrand just popping his helmet on, and Pedro getting the benefit of one of our trackside photographers. Pedro will start on the inside of row 2. He drives a CRG Perilla. It's cart number 103. 126 is Juan Manuel Correa. He drives for the United States of America. He was born in Ecuador, drives for the Energy Course team. He's on an Energy TM. And getting better and better and better is Juan Manuel Correa. Since moving to Europe, increased his skills immensely. Former world champion there, Tom Joyner. Tom Joyner, who won his world title in Bahrain, driving for the very successful Swedish team, Straka Bytec, driving the Zanardi TM. And Tom not looked like winning a race this weekend, but he has always been at the very least knocking on the door of the top 5. Cart 120. Now I am impressed with this driver. This is Alexander Vartanyan on the Tony Kart Vortex. Alexander Vartanyan I've watched race for the last 2 or 3 years. I believe he's now in the best form of his life, and he's with a good team obviously. Alexander Vartanyan, Cart 120, one of the best Russians racing here in Western Europe. Ben Barneycoat, local hero. Ben Barneycoat driving for the Birel Art team on the Perilla powered motor, mixing his kart racing now with his car racing. And for those of you that didn't know, his father Paul, very instrumental in a lot of the work here at the PF International Circuit, not least the full extension that was constructed a couple of years back. Martin van Leeuwen, the Dutchman driving for CRG Kaiser. Martin van Leeuwen is on row 4 alongside Ben Barneycoat. He drives a CRG TM. And the top 10 will be completed on row 5. We shall have a peep at those in just a moment. Nicholas Nielsen is in cart number 101, driving the Tony Kart Vortex, and he drives for the official Tony Kart racing team. He's going to be lining up in P9 on the 5th row. And as you can see, there's a little bit more wind just blowing, a little bit more breezy. The grid girls just holding their hats on now. Cart 106, Carol Bash. Now, Carol racing for the Cosmic Racing Department team had an awful time in qualifying and in races yesterday, but he starts the final in P10 and, of course, vastly experienced at this level, Carol Bash of Poland. Hannes Janker is a German driver driving for the T8 Motorsport team, drives a CRG Perilla. He's lining up on row 6. Hannes Janker from Germany in cart number 107. Not actually in the cart at the moment, but a nice shot of him there by our trackside camera. Hope you like these pictures, just taking you to the heart of the assembly area before these drivers move off into their formation lap. Felice Tieni is in cart number 104, but that's cart 106 again, which was Carol Bash. So thought we were going to Felice Tieni, cart 104. Felice, of course, driving for the CRG team. And the 3-minute board being shown by the grid lady to the right. Kasper Roos Andersen of Denmark, he drove very, very well in the heats yesterday. Just had one bad performance, driving for Ricky Flynn Motorsport, an English team, Danish driver for an English team. Got himself in a little bit of a mess at one point in the pre-final, so having to start a little bit down the grid in the inside of row 7, P13. And again, the ladies just having to hold on to the headgear, aren't they? It is getting a little bit more breezy. Well, clear the grid was the instruction, and clear the grid is what is happening. This race will be over 22 laps, the longest race of the weekend. Well, I think all of the drivers, or the last one right at the back, that looked like Tuomas Hapalainen, I think. Yes, I think it was, just getting into the kart, probably the last of the drivers getting into the kart. He drives for the Croc Promotions on a TM unit. At the back of the grid, at the front of the grid, of course, Ben Hanley driving for Croc Promotions from pole position. We didn't see Ben, we did have a good look at his kart, number 133. Well, this very, very neat and tidy PF International circuit, it isn't just that the track looks good, all of the surrounding infrastructure always looks impressive, and I have to say the Trent Valley Kart Club certainly, without question, are the premier club and circuit in karting in this country. And they really, really do a great job, never sitting on the laurels, always looking to improve and usually succeeding. So, 1 minute to go. And Ben Hanley getting, I think that's what you'd call the close attention of the photographers, isn't it? Inches away from his Croc Promotions chassis and the TM Racing unit. Chris Walker, the nearest of the photographers at the moment. Incidentally, Chris Walker, a very, very good friend of mine, but as I'm sometimes asked, no, we're not related, no, we're not brothers. But Chris and I are both very, very keen on kart racing and travel the world to watch it. Or in the case of Chris, of course, to photo, and that is a close photo, isn't it? So, on to the first of our formation laps, and I believe we're having 2. Well, once again, we are grateful that you're taking the time and the effort to join us. This is CIK TV, powered by WSK Promotions. And there you see the starting grid. Ben Hanley on pole position alongside the Dutchman Richard Verschoor. Seeing Carol Bash repairing the damage of a bad racing day yesterday to make a start in the top 10. Local hero Ben Barnicoat in P7. Felicia Tieni going to be a little disappointed to have to start in 12th place, but in a 22-lap race, there's a lot of time to make forward progress. Just behind him, Lorenzo Travisanuto has shown a lot of good form. He driving for the Cartronics team of Ireland, Jarlath Clary's outfit. Jordan Lennox Lamb went out in the pre-final and has to start in P30. It hasn't been the best of occasions this weekend for the Birel Art driver, Jordan Lennox Lamb. And it gets a little worse for the lady behind him, because Jessica Backman, the only lady in this race, driving for the Cosmic Racing Department, the lady from the Arctic Circle, or close to the Arctic Circle in Sweden, she'll be starting way, way back in 32nd place on row 16. But when you start in 32nd place on row 16, other than the driver immediately behind you on the back row, you don't have a lot to lose, so Jessica can give it all that she has. Well, Ben Hanley there, the driver in shot at the front, as you would expect. He's starting on pole position alongside the Flying Dutchman, Richard Verschoor. Always amazes me how many brilliant, excellent young drivers come out of the Netherlands when you think how few international rated circuits there are in their country. But that isn't holding them back. Every year they're producing more good drivers. It's Ben Hanley on your left, it's Richard Vescour on your right. Do we get a first timer? And yes, we are racing, and Ben Hanley takes the lead from Pedro Hilbrand. Oh, and at the point at which this driver joins the circuit could be crucial. I think we've gotten away from what might have been a multi-cart collision. Yes, we have. And at the sharp end, it's definitely Ben Hanley in the lead from 103 Pedro Hilbrand. Richard Vescour, Tom Joyner getting a good start from there. You saw him in shot and do so right now, and already looking to go forward. Tom Joyner in cart number 144 and does go into second place at this early stage. So Tom Joyner going into second place at the expense of Pedro Hilbrand very, very early on the opening lap. The race leader from pole at this stage, Ben Hanley. In fourth place, I think that was Richard Vescour, but no, I'm not 100% sure that is. Yes, it is Richard Vescour, I believe. Anyway, here we go. Ben Hanley's lead at the end of the opening lap. What would you put that at? 0.2 of a second? Well, it was 0.4 of a second. 0.408. Tom Joyner in second place. Pedro Hilbrand in third place. The driver I didn't identify, and I should have done with that helmet, was Juan Manuel Correa in fourth place. Apologies, Juan, because you and I have crossed paths many, many times. Not on the track, I hasten to add. And Juan Manuel Correa, as I did say at the start of our coverage, gained so much by coming over. And there's Tom Joyner in the lead. Tom Joyner takes the lead early on lap 2, and Ben Hanley immediately says, look, I'm not having any of this. The front of the race is my domain. That's my patch. Tom Joyner getting back into third place. Tom Joyner getting back into second place. Pedro Hilbrand back into third place. And Juan Correa certainly consolidating that good start that he's made, although just slightly detached now from the front running three, as Pedro Hilbrand just peeps over his shoulder, sees that it's Juan Correa there, but that there's a gap of about 2.5 cart lengths between them. And Tom Joyner serving serious notice on Ben Hanley that Tom Joyner, is the guy who reckons that, well, that wasn't a glance over the shoulder by Ben Hanley, was it? And that perhaps has played its part in Ben Hanley losing the lead at this stage. Tom Joyner, a lot of not looking forward here. Cart 133 into second place, Ben Hanley now. And if this was being shown to you on a diagrammatic screen, it would look a little bit untidy. The reality of it is there's several drivers at the front jockeying for useful position early on. This is lap 3 of 22, so nobody wins the race at this point, although something silly can certainly lose you the race at this point. Cart number 144 is Tom Joyner. Cart 133 is Ben Hanley. When Tom Joyner won the World Championship, Ben Hanley was the second place driver, and going up from fourth to third, was that Richard Vescour? Yes, it was. When Tom Joyner won the World Championship, Ben Hanley had the same number of points as him, but on the count back, Tom Joyner won the tie-break. Tom Joyner, a worthy world champion, but I did feel for Ben Hanley on that occasion. What more really could he have done? Well, it's a good race at the start, isn't it? No question. This is the fourth lap of a 22-lap race, and these setups for a 22-lap race are often quite varied. Ben Hanley didn't seem too troubled when he was passed initially by Tom Joyner, although the immediate reaction to get back in front looked fairly forceful. I don't mean forceful in a forceful driving way, I just meant forceful thinking. Tom Joyner's lead is 0.19 of a second, which when we look at it visually is in effect nearly nothing. In third place, Richard Vescour, and those three, as you can see, have pulled away just a little bit. And there into second place goes Richard Vescour. Was that? Yes, it was, because Richard Vescour is most clearly the guy there, and Ben Hanley just having a peep on the inside, but not doing anything about it at this stage. And close to Ben Hanley now, Juan Manuel Correa and Pedro Hilbrand. Well, if there was a race where it was built into the supplementary regulations, you've got to spend 30 seconds in every lap looking backwards over your shoulder, I think the PF circuit would draw the entrance, wouldn't it? Because we have got a lot of circumspection, is that the word? Or just checking where we are, where I've been, where my opponents are. I can tell you where Tom Joyner is in the lead. The lead was 0.19 of a second. That's now been increased to 0.38, so he's doubled his lead. That was Ben Hanley in shot. In third place there. Fourth place is Juan Manuel Correa. Fifth place is Pedro Hilbrand. I'm just going to take my eye off the screen to look at the other places. Ben Barnicoat running 6th, Martin van Leeuwen 7th, Alex Vatanyan of Russia 8th, Felice Tieni up into 9th, and Nicholas Nielsen in 10th place. You're looking at Tom Joyner losing the lead. That's what you were looking at, because 102 Richard Verschoor has just made a move almost out of nothing, and the young Dutchman with so much potential becomes the 3rd race leader after Ben Hanley and Tom Joyner. Richard Verschoor, cart number 102, leads. Tom Joyner is in 2nd place. Ben Hanley is in 3rd place. Juan Correa is in 4th place. Let's have a look at that again. Well, it was really, really tight on that inside, wasn't it? And you could have well have imagined that there might have been some sort of contact, but not so. Richard Verschoor measured that down to the last millimetre. A really good drive. We can't say enough about the talent of this Dutchman. He may not go on to win this race, that he loses the lead at this point, but the talent is there for somebody so inexperienced at this level. Actually now doing well to hang on to 4th place as I was speaking, and he may lose 4th place to, I think that was Hilbrand, wasn't it, in cart number 103 going up into 4th. 144 is Tom Joyner, 133 is Ben Hanley, and Tom Joyner can give Ben Hanley, I think it's 10 years, Tom Joyner 10 years younger than Ben Hanley, or Ben Hanley can give Tom Joyner 10 years, whichever way you care to look at it. But what I'm trying to say, two drivers from different immediate racing eras who are definitely dominating this one at lap 8 over 22. Cart number 126 in 3rd place is Juan Manuel Correa from the United States of America. First watched Juan Manuel Correa racing in the United States, but at that time he was racing for Ecuador. And going up from 5th to 4th is Richard Verschoor. So the repair of the damage of Richard Verschoor losing the lead has been repaired at the first rung, i.e. moving up from 5th to 4th, and that at the expense of the Spaniard Pedro Hiltbrand. Pedro Hiltbrand dropping down to 5th. This is a nice shot of Tom Joyner, that, isn't it? Good action. Do hope you're enjoying the coverage that we're bringing you here. The coverage is brought to you by the use of cameras at strategic places, and we think we're capturing most of the action that's relevant, and I think we capture, well, all of the action that's relevant, and most of it where there's any real movement. What you're seeing at the moment is Tom Joyner leading, with Ben Hanley very, very close in 2nd place. 3rd place Juan Correa. Juan Correa just a little bit further in front of 4th place Richard Verschoor, a cart length extra than the gap between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. And then Pedro Hiltbrand 5th, Martin van Leeuwen, another Dutchman, in 6th place, Ben Barnicoat of Great Britain 7th, Nicholas Nielsen Denmark 8th, Felice Tieni of Italy 9th, and another Italian, Lorenzo Travisanuto, climbs up into the top 10 at number 10. Just outside the top 10, it's the Polish driver Karol Basz, but this is Tom Joyner. Tom Joyner drives a Zanardi TM, and he's driving for Straka Bytec, the Swedish team. Ben Hanley, the new team that's been launched onto the karting scene this year, the Croc Promotions team. Mad Croc, another of the energy drinks. People tell me, I've not had one yet, but tell me you'll know you've had it if you've had a good swill of Mad Croc. The TM power unit is what's bringing, and that was going to say that's what's bringing Ben Hanley into 2nd place, but it's what's actually losing Ben Hanley a couple of places there, because Juan Correa saying, look, there was a gap, and if you put a gap in front of me, I'm the driver that will go through it, and he's done just that on lap 10 of 22. Not quite yet at half race distance, but we're certainly getting to the sharper end of the race, and maybe this could be a defining moment, could it, or the beginning of a defining moment, because with Juan Correa relegating Ben Hanley to 3rd place, Tom Joyner, who had that narrow lead of 0.158 of a second at the end of the previous lap, has now got half a second, 0.53 of a lap. Now 0.53 is not a winning margin when you've got 11 more laps to go, but it's a handy place to be at half race distance, and Ben Hanley gets back into 2nd place. And the experience there of Ben Hanley, far more experience than Juan Manuel Correa. And Juan Manuel Correa has left a tiny gap, and it was good enough for somebody to go through, I think, which was Richard Verschoor, but Richard Verschoor having gone wide on the exit, and Juan Manuel Correa ends up not a net loser. We are on lap 11 of 22, so heading towards the half race distance. 10 minutes into the race, and you're looking at cart 102, which is Richard Viscour, and he is leading the challengers to the runaway, well, I won't say runaway, Tom Joyner in first place and Ben Hanley in second place, but decent leads for those two, no question. Juan Correa in third, and then Richard Viscour. Cart number 103 gaining a place is Pedro Hiltbrand, and Pedro Hiltbrand, that was a nice little executed move. Carol Bash from our info bar telling us that he's up into 8th place. Ben Barnicott dropping out of the top 10 to 13th. That's disappointing for the local-based British driver. And Alex Vartanyan going to be a little bit disappointed to be down out of the top 10 as well. Tierney has dropped like a stone on my chart, and Felice Tierney is nowhere to be seen on the track and looking as if he is about to retire if he hasn't already done so. 103 that you do see in shot is Pedro Hiltbrand, and as I mentioned previously, Pedro Hiltbrand, if you will, he's one of the contenders of this, the close racing pack. 103 is Pedro Hiltbrand, 101 is Nicholas Nielsen, 102 is Richard Viscour. But all of those guys are out of podium positions at the moment because Juan Correa is in third place, Ben Hanley in second place, and our race leader on lap 13 is Tom Joyner. Oh, and that's a nice little move. 101 is Nicholas Nielsen. So Nicholas Nielsen moving himself up from 5th to 4th, I do believe. Just trying to see the rest of the track. Yeah, there we are. Confirmation that Nicholas Nielsen's passing move there has taken him into 4th place, and that at the expense of Pedro Hiltbrand. Richard Viscour doesn't want to get any further detached, although he's out of the shot just at the moment in cart number 102. Tom Joyner coming down the home straight. 133 in second place is Ben Hanley. In third place, Juan Correa. 4th, Nicholas Nielsen. 5th, Pedro Hiltbrand. 6th, Richard Viscour. 7th, another Dutchman, Martin van Leeuwen. 8th, Karel Bash. 9, Jori Vips of Estonia. And in 10th place, Loris Travisanuto of Italy. Confirmation that Ben Barnicott out of the top 10 in 13th place. That's a disappointment to the crowd here. He's not just an Englishman, he lives really seriously local to this circuit. 103 that you saw in shot there. Pedro Hiltbrand needs to get himself a little bit further forward if he's going to get himself a genuine shot at the podium, because the front running three, I'm glad that we're staying with these pictures because this is the best of the racing, folks. I promise you this is the best of the racing, because Tom Joyner's got over half a second on Ben Hanley, and Ben Hanley's got very nearly a full second on Juan Manuel Correa. You see those 1, 2 and 3 there. That is Juan Correa. Juan Manuel Correa, originally, as I say, from South America, Ecuador, and now racing on a license of North America, the United States. We're on lap 15 of 22. You're looking at Tom Joyner. Tom Joyner has not won a race all weekend. He did not win any of his heats. He didn't win the qualifying competition. But what was significant, Tom Joyner was never very far away from the sharp end of the action. Tom Joyner and Ben Hanley, of course, not racing a vast amount in the United Kingdom because of their international kart racing commitments, both at European Championship level and World Championship level. And Ben Hanley, of course, not unknown to try his hand at a little bit of car racing while mixing it with the kart racing in recent years. Nice shot there of Tom Joyner coming under the Litchfield Bridge, sweeping up the grade and over the top of the Litchfield Bridge before the right turn. I always say in commentary, this reminds me of the grade drop down at the Monaco Kart Cup when we raced karts on the F1 circuit. And Nicholas Nielsen is not hanging about. I'm learning that he has just set a fastest lap. Nicholas Nielsen, who's down in 4th place, is getting closer. He's just under 54.819, has he? Not sure that was the fastest lap. I'm not sure if I've interpreted that data accurately. Kart 126 there, definitely Juan Manuel Correa driving for Energy Course, powered by the TM unit. A little bit of a lonely race in 3rd place. Ben Hanley in second place has got Tom Joyner in his sights. 0.589 of a second was the margin when they went over at the end of lap 16 to start lap 17. As I just have to adjust my commentary position because having had a lot of dull, cloudy weather here at Pia, I've not got the sun shining directly in my eyes, but it is actually shining off a silvery surface here. So Tom Joyner, without a shadow of a doubt, in front of Ben Hanley. Juan Manuel Correa well clear of Nicholas Nielsen, but Nicholas Nielsen closing on that front three. Part number 144 is a Zanardi chassis, powered by the TM and shod by Vega, as everybody is. Straka Racing, of course, coming into the international kart racing scene, what was it, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and making a massive impact right from the word go. Just looking at the info bar, Casper Rose Anderson in 22nd place, big disappointment. Casper Rose Anderson came into this event second in the championship standings, but is not in the top 20. Richard Viscour goes 54.566 and sets the fastest lap. He's running in 5th place at the moment. This is lap 18 of 22, and the body language of Tom Joyner does look very relaxed, doesn't it? But then a feature of Tom Joyner's driving is that he is a relaxed driver. Doesn't give too much in the way of extravagant upper torso movement. And you can see the Zanardi chassis there, quite sympathetic to Tom's movements, can't you? The setup looking right, the front two drivers dipping their head against the wind resistance as they close out the 18th lap and set off on lap 19. 4 laps remaining, including the one that they're on, so if you want to be a little bit pedantic, 3 3/4 laps to go, and Tom Joyner's lead is 0.614. Just going to try to eliminate this glare that I'm getting, which is stopping me bringing you some of the information that I'd like to bring you. Tom Joyner's lead 0.614 of a second at the end of the 18th lap, and you would think there that Ben Hanley is getting just a whisker. Oh no, I don't know. 0.614. That's probably translated into the pictures you're seeing. Tom Joyner, very, very sporting guy, as indeed is Ben Hanley, but most unassuming and really, really modest in victory when he won his world title. Actually won his world title and didn't know. People said, well done, Tom. And he said, yeah, well done, I won the race. Said, no, well done, you're the world champion. And it took a little while to sink in after that. Juan Manuel Correa, probably far enough detached now to forget first or second place finish, unless something disastrous happens to Tom Joyner or Ben Hanley. But whether Nicholas Nielsen can get close enough to Juan Correa to take the final step of the podium, it oughtn't to happen, but you don't know, things like tyre degradation and the like. 144 Tom Joyner, lovely action shot of him. I really appreciate seeing these pictures. As a circuit commentator, I don't see this fine detail of the drivers at work that often, and I do appreciate being able to call the racing from these ideal pictures. Hope you're enjoying it back home or wherever you happen to be tuned into us. Thank you for tuning into us wherever you are. This is lap 21 of a 22-lap race. Now, those of you familiar with my style of commentary, I do have a belief in the commentator's curse. So there are times when I'm tempted to say something, but I'm just not going to do so. Let's simply say that with 1.5 laps to go, you'd rather be Tom Joyner than anybody else in this race, wouldn't you? There you see the front running 3. Joyner is kart 144, Hanley is kart 133, Correa is kart 126, and it doesn't look as if, barring an utter disaster, any one of those 3 will fail to take the 3 podium positions that are on offer. Ben Hanley has driven extremely well this weekend, and of course he came here as the championship leader, and he will leave here as the championship leader if this is the final result. We are on lap 22 of 22. I think 5th has gone to 4th, which was has Nicholas Nielsen and Richard Viscour traded places again, or is that just the initial trading of places? Either way, it's not going to affect the podium positions, I don't believe. Ben Hanley in shot there just behind. This is Tom Joyner, wholly in shot on your screen now. Ben Hanley coming there to your left, and this is Juan Manuel Correa. Juan Manuel much younger than the other two guys. Ben in his 30s, Tom in his 20s, and Juan just at the top end of his teens. So, a driver whose style is not to explode right at the start of a meeting, but just to get quietly better and better, and to pull out the stops when it counts, has done it again, because the victory goes to Tom Joyner. In second place, Ben Hanley. In third place, Juan Correa. In fourth place, Richard Vescour. In fifth place, Nicholas Nielsen. In sixth place, Pedro Hiltbrand. Seventh, Martin van Leeuwen. Eighth, Carol Bash. And ninth, Loris Travisanuto. And completing the top 10, Hannes Janker, the German, in 10th place. Couple of Brits, 14th and 15th, Ben Barnico and Oliver Hodgson, both very closely associated, not just with Britain, but with this circuit at PFI. And 14th and 15th probably going to be quite disappointing for them. But hey, we've had a couple of English drivers at the front who've given us a great race. Tom Joyner and Ben Hanley coming home 1 and 2. It's not an English lockout, because the United States, in the shape of Juan Correa, come home in third place. Well, in just a moment we'll show you our highlights, but I do hope that you enjoyed that coverage. We say again, thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it. The highlights package, of course, on Motors TV a little later on in the week. Tom Joyner's margin over Ben Hanley was 0.8 of a second. Straka Bytec beating the Mad Croc Kart team, and Energy Course coming home third. Richard Vescour, good effort for a good weekend's racing, in fourth place. Carol Bash repaired a lot of damage, coming home in 8th in the final. Confirmation that Ben Barnicoat and Oliver Hodgson, not going to be pleased with those results. Neither of the guys have really shone. I did think Ben was improving and might have got better, whereas Oliver Hodgson really has struggled throughout. Disappointing for Dionis Marcu of Romania in 18th place. He was going better than that in the heats, and so was Casper Rose Anderson in 20th place. Casper Rose Anderson coming here second in the championship standings. Hey, Jessica Backman, she started 32nd. She climbed up to 24th. The lady in the race from Sweden, Jessica Backman, getting some, what shall we say, self-respect, I think, in a P24 finish in the 22-lap final. And the non-finish as well, it's been absolutely a weekend to write off for Jordan Lennox-Lamb, and Felicia Tierney has not been a lot happier. Let's have a look at the highlights. This is Ben Hanley at the start of the race, being followed by Pedro Hiltbrand. There was some contact early on, and at that point I thought there might have been a real collision involving multi-carts, but grateful to have avoided that. This was the point at which it was the point at which Juan Correa, I think, made a move. That was Tom Joyner going in front of Ben Hanley for the first time. He cut sharply there. That's Ben Hanley back in front now, isn't it? And once again, trading places, these guys at the front. Pedro Hiltbrand also getting a piece of the action in part 103, but going a little bit wide there, so a little bit fortunate to hold on to his third place there. Tom Joyner now in a lead which he wasn't going to relinquish at this stage of the race. Ben Hanley following him. And there you saw a nice move by kart number 102, which was Richard Vescour going past, I think that was Nicholas Nielsen in the highlights package. And another late move there. Tom Joyner's by no means got the race won at this stage, has he? And Ben Hanley's by no means got second place bolted. But they did just stretch away a little bit from this point, which was the 2/3. Yes, let's use our head, the message there, wasn't it, from Juan Correa? We'll use our heads. 133, a nice passing move that you saw there. Kart number 133, Ben Hanley, who eventually came home second. All looked a little bit tight and feisty here, didn't it? But it didn't there, because Tom Joyner acknowledges the victory. And the championship standings, unofficial as I call them, Ben Hanley leads the championship by 13 points from Tom Joyner, and despite that bad result, Felice Tieni probably still third in the championship standing, or probably now up to third in the championship standing. So Ben Hanley 13 points to the good with 1 round to go, but Tom Joyner getting himself into second place now, Felice Tieni in third place. Behind them, Juan Correa in fourth place. So Ben Hanley loses his unbeaten record in the championship, but sustains and even consolidates his lead in the championship. Okay, thank you for having joined us online or however you've tuned in to us. Please don't go away. Please come down to the podium with us. It's only going to be about 5 minutes or less, so stay tuned. Do stay tuned. We go to the podium next. Invite you to come down to the podium area. We shall be doing the KF podium presentation just as soon as the 3 drivers and the winning team rep are here. And as I said previously, for the KF junior presentation, it's always a lot more pleasurable. Getting a lot of wind rattle on the mic. Always a lot more pleasurable if we're able to have a big crowd here. We've got the sun shining. It's a little bit breezy as the mic's picking up the evidence of that wind, but we're away just as soon as the drivers are here. Well, in holding both of the microphones, in speaking to those of you here at the circuit, I do hope you've enjoyed your racing, what you've seen here for real. For those of you tuned in online, tuned in however you've managed to do so, with your PCs, your telephones, your iPad, your iPhone, your Android, however you've done it. Thank you for being in touch with us. Don't go away just yet. Don't tune off just yet, because the podium ceremony literally minutes away, just 2-3 maximum minutes away. The guys, I'm told, are on the way here, and we want you to see it on television as well as we want those that are here to see it for real. Well, once again, we shall have our distinguished guests making the presentation. The District Councillor for this region, that's Bob Simpson of the South Kesteven District Council, who represents the villages up in the north end of this particular District Council. Kai Oberheider, who's the Executive Secretary of the CIKFIA, the governing body of world karting. And of course, Simon Blunt, the General Secretary of the Motorsports Association, the governing body of motorsport here in Great Britain. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go forward with the podium ceremony for the KF final. It's round 2 of the CIKFIA European Championships for KF. 22 laps racing in the final, and at the end of 22 laps racing, in third place from the United States of America was Juan Manuel Correa. Juan, who's also had much success in other series as well, but we won't mention that here. The guy who came into the event as the championship leader, unbeaten out of Portimao. Only one guy beat him today, increases his championship lead. It's Ben Hanley from Great Britain. But there was one guy that managed to put one victory on Ben today, the only occasion, and that is our own Great British driver, Tom Joyner. Tom, of course, driving for the Straka Bytec team out of Sweden, and we invite their winning team representative, Mr. Richard Franchini, to step forward, please. Thank you, Richard. Well, after the handshakes all round, let's acknowledge the victory of Tom Joyner by playing the national anthem of the United Kingdom. Yes, as the strains of the national anthem are played, let's now ask the ladies at the far side of the podium, please, to pass the third place trophy to District Councillor Bob Sampson. That will be presented to Juan Correa. Well done, Juan. As I said in commentary on the television, originally from Ecuador, now racing for the United States. You're not the first person to do that, Juan. That's happened earlier on today. If the trophy for second place can be passed to Mr. Kai Oberheider, please. He is the CIKFIA Executive Secretary, and that will be presented to Ben Hanley. And Kai making sure the lid doesn't fall this time. And the third trophy, please, if that could be passed to Simon Blunt, the MSA General Secretary. And, of course, the governing body of Great Britain, presented to a British driver, Tom Joyner. And Simon, we'll also ask you to present the trophy, please, to the winning team representative, Straka Bytec's Richard Franchini. Thank you, Richard. So, the pretty ladies got some pretty flowers. Let's have those presentation of the flowers. Well done, ladies. Well done, guys. And if I can just quickly have a word with Tom. Tom, one of the things that I'd said in commentary, a trademark victory for you. Nothing dramatic in the early stages of the race, but you turned up the wick when it counted, i.e. in the final on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, we were a bit out of position really in qualifying, so I've been starting in the midfield all weekend. We've been working towards the final really. The pre-final was good, and I knew if I could just stay with the guys in the first couple of laps that I might be able to get away and get a gap, and that's exactly what I did.
Well done and congratulations. And folks, I said of Presley Martono, you always get an honest answer to questions. Exactly the same with Tom. Okay, we go forward now to the photos. And as soon as the photographers have done what they need to do, if you just give me the signal, we'll say how cheerios. No. Well, as the photos are being taken, ladies and gentlemen, those of you tuned in online, thank you for joining us all day today. We have... should not have done this. Should have done it in the set. Well, sorry about that to the photographers if we've spoiled your pictures. Again, to those of you online, we do make our thank yous. Hope you've enjoyed the racing. A great victory for Presley Martono in the junior class. This one sees Ben Hanley beaten for the first time, but he's increased his championship lead. 65 points to Tom Joyner's 52. Felice Tieni third with 31 points. We go forward to the third and final round at Kristianstad, Sweden. We shall be there. Make sure you join us. Bye for now. Well, this is where we make a quick exit because it's bubbly time.